Joining me today is Keith Armonatus. I might have messed your name up. I'm sorry,
No.
Keith, if I did. We're going to have you introduce yourself, but the writer and the director of The Struggle. Keith, thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you taking the time tonight.
Oh, I appreciate you taking the time tonight. I'm so excited to talk to you about this film because it's super fun, funny. But before we get into these in-depth questions, I'd love for you to introduce yourself, say your name correctly for
All right.
everyone,
Yeah,
and
so
tell us a
it's
little bit about The Struggle.
right. So the correct pronunciation of my name is Throat Wobbler Mangro. It's that's an old Monty Python joke, but it's Keith Armonitis. You got it perfectly. So and yeah, I think this is going to be my fourth film that's going to be at Garden State Film Festival. Two others were directed by my good friend and colleague Foka Barson, and then two, this one and Won't Be Home Soon that I had done, which was my directorial debut. I wrote and directed myself.
Oh my, amazing. Fourth film in Garden State. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's well. I mean, I'm a Jersey boy, so this is my home festival. So I'm happy that they thought that my latest film was good enough to get in. I appreciate that.
I mean, I'm not even surprised at all. Not only is it like an awesome, funny film to watch, but it's filmed beautifully. It's simple yet relatable and in depth and everything you love about film. And it's short and easygoing. And I'm just so happy to have it at the 21st annual film festival this year. So can you tell everyone a little bit about what The Struggle is about?
So really, the struggle is about one man's quest to make the perfect cup of coffee. Uh, but and I mean, the entire idea behind it was taking, what would normally be something that's so mundane as just getting up and getting out of bed and kind of raising it to a level that's, I mean, it's almost ludicrous. But the other part of it is that it's really about uh, why you shouldn't take things for granted. Let's put it that way.
Mm,
No spoilers, but
wow.
that's I think that's the ultimate message of it. So.
Absolutely. I love both of those. A man's struggle for the perfect cup of coffee and why you shouldn't take things for granted.
Right.
Wonderful pitch. Like if I didn't already see it, I'd be like, I'm watching that. But I want to talk to you. I want to first commend you about the comedy aspect of the film because you
Mm.
don't have a lot of dialogue, but you use comedy in a way that like through sound and through the editing and the wonderful actors that you have, like the comedy just bleeds through the film without having a lot of dialogue. So I want to ask you as a director, how
Mhm.
did you achieve that level of comedy? What we see in the film, was that all directing? Was that the actors' choices? Was that on the script? Like, how did you direct this film?
Okay, so I mean, there's always this talk about when there's three films, right? There's the one you write, there's the one you shoot, and the one that you edit, and it's really the combination of those three things that made it so wonderful. The idea behind it and the actual writing of it, was something that took place. I mean, it's been kicking around in my head for a while, but then it was a relatively quick write. And then really you have to make sure that you get the perfect cast for it,
Right.
because comedy can fall flat. If you have if you have somebody that's too much one way or another, it could be very difficult to have the comedy pieces of it work.
Mhm.
And I was blessed. Michael Toda, I've known him for years. I actually met him at the Garden State Film Festival, and I've wanted to work with him for a long time. And I actually, after I wrote it, I'm like, you know what, I got to show this to Mike because I think he would just knock it out of the park, and he did. And when I was talking to him, I told him, I said, look, we need to get the perfect actress. I mean, she has to, first off, she has to be like, what I call, morning beautiful, right? She can wake up and she still looks great, but with a good sense of comedic timing. And Karen Rafa was that person. Literally, the first suggestion that he had, he goes, "You got to talk to Caroline," and I did, and man, she just delivered in spades. So I was blessed with a really, really good cast.
Mhm.
Some of the things, like there's a part early on where they're in bed and kind of like all the things that they do while they're sleeping together, their sleeping arrangements and everything else,
Mhm.
I kind of let the camera roll for a bunch of that and just said, "Hey guys, just do different things." And through some fantastic editing, Foco, who's,
Yes.
I mentioned before, did some fantastic editing on that. I sat with him, and we went through it, and it just everything just clicked, and we had to do little tweaks here and there. But what really kind of tied everything together, you talk about the sound design,
Mhm.
uh, it's the music, it's the composition of the music. We had originally edited it with what we call the temp score. The temporary score that I used was, one of the movements from Deflator Mouse, which,
Mm.
if you've watched any Bugs Bunny cartoons,
Oh.
they actually you'll hear parts of that. And then for the second half of the film, we had used Bolero. And so when we put those together, we sent it out to a composer in the Netherlands that
Oh,
Foco
wow.
knew. And when we sent it to the guy's name, Thomas, I can't pronounce his last name properly, so I'm not going to try. I don't want to. Sorry, Thomas, if you see this. But he's, we sent it to him, and he watched the film, and a couple days later, he's like, "I've got an idea." He goes, "It may be." He goes, "I just listened to it." And he sent us about a 30-second clip of it, and it starts off with the whistling. And I mean, it was the type of thing where I wasn't even watching the film; I was just listening to the music, and
Mm.
it made me smile, and it made me laugh, and I'm like, "This is perfect." And so, then it was just a collaboration to make sure that you got the music timings right with the
Mhm.
different things that happen in the film. There's a couple of times where instead of use sound effects, we actually use instruments from the score to kind of heighten the response to certain pieces of it. And yeah, it's all came together so perfectly. I mean, I just
Absolutely.
yeah, I was just lucky from start to finish.
And that's all you can ask for a film because you hear so many, like, not horror stories, but some people run into problems or maybe one person isn't really, like, leveling up to everyone else's talents, but it sounds like you have an amazing, talented, equally talented crew and cast on your hands with this film.
Yeah, and I have to say, one of the things that we've kind of like tried to emphasize was that we don't have any egos anywhere in the well, I mean, there's mine, but that's one I
The
only have to deal with
writer-director, you
myself
gotta have an
every
ego.
time. But the entire idea was that we ask people to just bring their talent
Mhm,
and their hard work, and to leave, their kind of check their ego at the door. And
mm.
that was literally with every single person. I mean, we had a fantastic DP, our cinematographer, Brad Reeb, did an amazing job. And, it was nice working with him because we were talking about some creative shots that we wanted to do. There's a nice
Which
shot.
I noticed and appreciated. I don't wanna
Yeah,
give any away, but
yeah. There's a couple of great shots, but
there's
there's
2 in my
one.
head. I don't know if I should say it because I don't wanna
Yeah.
give away.
Oh, no, go ahead. It's the coffee cup, right? It's
Oh,
the
yes,
juice
and
in the
then the one
mug.
in the fridge I
And the
loved.
one in the fridge, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. So the one shooting up from the mug, was something that, when we were talking when he was reading through the script and I had shown him, I said, "I'm thinking about this, and this." And, like, almost at the exact same time, we said, "And wouldn't it be great to just shoot up, to do a shot from the mug, from inside the mug?" And, like, we kinda and it was we're kinda laughing about it because, we had the same thought, and that
Mhm.
was great, and then we just had to figure out how to do that. And, yeah,
You
there's
did.
some there's some interesting behind the scenes stuff, because it's actually not a mug that we're shooting through. It's a piece of PVC waste pipe that we got
Wow.
that'll
Was that like a trial and error thing? You guys had to try a bunch of different things to see what worked?
No, actually, I was going to Home Depot to see if I could get somebody who could cut the bottom off of a mug with a ceramics cutter. And when I'm in there, I'm like, there's, Home Depot. I don't know how it is by you, if you can go to Home Depot. You go to Home Depot. And some Home Depots, there's people everywhere, and some Home
Mhm.
Depots are like, "Is there anyone home?" You know.
Yeah.
And as I was walking around, I was like, "Wait a minute." And I was PVC pipes. Let me go there. And then there's this one piece that's a junction for a waste pipe. And I'm like, I go, this looks like it's the exact size of the camera lens, and it had a rounded edge on the outside. So
Uh-huh.
I'm like, this is just like a little too good to be true. So I bought it, and I brought it on set. I told Brad about it. He goes, "Oh, whatever it is, we'll make it work." And it fit perfectly. Not only did it fit perfectly on top of the camera lens, but it fit in such a way that it was steady.
Wow.
So like it didn't even like wiggle around when he, because we actually have Mike kind of like holding the camera and kind of moving it around. Um, yeah, and it's just, I don't know, just again
Wow.
one of these lucky things that happened, and you know,
Yeah, everything was so in sync for you. And
yeah.
you're giving away some, like, gold right now. People could be taking notes and going to Home Depot, getting some
Well,
pipes and doing that for the next film.
I have to tell you, independent film. I don't know how it is on professional film sets. I mean, I see they've got these giant trailers, and they got people who have say, "Hey,
Yeah, billions of
go fly this,"
dollars.
right? Yeah. But for independent film, it's really all about being creative in so many different things.
Mhm,
You don't have a ton. You don't have you don't have a ton of people, or the people that you get. Like I work very closely with Montclair State University, and so we have people from Montclair State University who are in their filmmaking department come on set, and they're gaffers, or they come on to do they'll be like the sound assistant, they'll hold
mhm,
a boom pole or something. And so a lot of these are young talents that are just starting out. They've gone through 2, 3, 4 years of college, and now they're looking for something to do. So I found that we've actually been able to help people, and then I actually learn a lot too, because I didn't go to film school. I'm actually a classically trained actor. I became a writer after many years of just not making money as an actor, and
mhm.
uh,
I
and then
understand the struggle.
yeah, and then
Well done.
it was literally again the Garden State Film Festival a bunch of years ago where I met Foka, and he's like, he goes, "Well, why are you waiting for people to make your movie? Why don't you just make it yourself?"
Mhm.
And I was like, "That's I don't know,
Yeah.
I never thought of that." And so he started by he produced my first film. He directed it. I wrote something. He directed it. And actually, it actually won an award at Garden State years ago as best dramatic short. And that was just kind of like the thing that just made me go. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to keep doing this. And if it wasn't for COVID, I probably would be on fourth or fifth, I mean fifth or sixth movie.
Right.
But
But fighting
yeah,
through it. I mean, Keith, I wanna thank you because you touched on so I could just sit here and listen to you talk because you touched on the actors and the sound and
mm,
everything that I wanted to ask you about, and on top of you talking, you really gave, like, such great advice for filmmakers. Because that's one question I love to end off is, like, what's one thing you have learned
mm.
making films, being a part of films, because 'cause you're a classically trained actor, that other filmmakers might listen and know for their next film? Like, a quick advice you'd give some other filmmakers.
No matter what you do, it's never going to be perfect. I know
Mhm.
that because I've tried to perfect all the stuff that I've worked on. There is no perfect. You have to work to what's going to be good enough for the constraints that you're in. And sometimes it means being creative with how you do shoots. Sometimes it means taking a script that's 15 pages and cut it down to 10, and then realizing, well, I can't have 4 different locations. I've got 2.
Right.
Um, the idea is that you should focus as much as you can on the story,
Mm.
and a lot of the other stuff you can kind of leave behind. Um, but be creative in every single part of it, because if you're an independent filmmaker, you're going to have to be.
Love that. Creativity and, like, adapting to, to make the story as best as it can. I
Yeah.
love that, and quickly, before we end off, we got, like, 30 more seconds, but I know that Heather O'Scanlan was in Be Home Soon, which you mentioned was your
Yes.
directorial debut, which is amazing. Garden State loves her. So many
Yeah.
filmmakers love her. I love her.
She's
She's amazing.
fabulous. Yeah.
Absolutely. I would love to know because you met a lot of people at Garden State Film Festival. This is your
Mm.
4th year coming back. Why do you keep coming back to Garden State, and, what do you love about this festival?
Well, I mean, you know, it, it's close. Diane will love that one. It's like, that's close enough. Actually,
This
the Garden State Film Festival. They treat their filmmakers very well. You know, if I if I didn't know anything else about Garden State, if I wasn't from here, if I didn't know any of the people or anything else, and I had just gone once to this festival, it would be one that I'd always want to come back to.
I love
Because
that.
yeah, everybody gets treated so well, and sometimes filmmakers don't get as much respect from other festivals, but in Garden State they do.
Well, I love that, Keith. Thank you so much. And thank you for making the struggle and bringing it to Garden State. And to all of us who, like it says in the film, we've all been there. We can laugh, we can relate, we can all relate to the struggle. So I want to thank you for making it, and congratulations to you for getting accepted.
Thank you very much.
Let me tell everyone, sorry to cut you off. Let me tell everyone how we can watch the struggle, because we got to watch this film. It'll be playing at the Asbury Hotel in Asbury Hall, Saturday, March 25th in the film block, 6 to 8 p.m. So definitely check it out. And Keith, I don't even have to ask you, you're going to be there, right?
For the world.
Love it. Love it. Thank you so much for joining us today, Keith. Congratulations again, and we'll see you at the film festival.